What's up, you guys? This is Thomas McElroy, and you're listening to The Break It Down Show.
All right. So I think our levels are cool. You know, the table's loud, but the clinking of the ice is a pretty nice sound.
It's all right. It's after hours. Bayview after hours.
That's right. Bayview after hours.
Makes it seem like we in somewhere really, like off the water.
Yeah.
Which we are.
The
we are.
Tonight Show with Steve Allen and his guest was Dean Martin,
Got some
and he
scotch
showed
in
up.
his glass, right?
Little,
Right. Had a cigarette in one hand.
I got a gin and ginger, baby.
Yeah. Hey, so gracing Bayview Studios tonight, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. Hip-hop legend, Black Sheep Drez. Man, thank you for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're fortunate to have you here. You get to do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
That means only legends get to do that shit and get paid for it,
Right, that's real.
Man.
So, man, when you come out here, you're out here on vacation.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see you on vacation.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be on vacation, man. I definitely try to run as hard as I can when I'm in that mode.
You do spend the year grinding.
Yeah, for sure.
How often do you say you take it easy?
I'm so fortunate to be doing what I'm doing for over 23 years now. That even when I'm working really hard, I always kind of keep in perspective that I could really be working hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not digging ditches.
Right. And that kind of affords me the mind state that even when I'm busy, I'm in a comfortable space. Yeah. I find leisure in work. Literally, I find leisure in work. I used to run around the country with golf clubs and, would play before a show and this, that, and the other, These days, I probably rest a little more, just a little older, what have you. But just to say I still have that same mindset that, man, I really could be doing 100 other things, but I'm being creative. People are coming to see me, promoters giving me money and alcohol and beautiful 5-star hotel or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For me to do what I love, for something that I would do for free.
For free, right.
Literally.
And you've been able to do it for 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
It's fun to follow you on Facebook because every time, you see you doing interesting things, it's neat to see that your life does have leisure. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to tell you how damn annoying you are. One time, Kelvin called me up. He was like, hey, man, Drez is coming next week. I was like, oh, yeah. He said, I think you were playing the DNA Lounge. And he said, are you interested in going, man? I like to go, but, I don't want to go by myself. I was like, hell yeah, I'll go. Let's go. Let's do it. I'm in. And he said, all right, I'll let you know when it is. So I was looking forward to it. I said, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this show. We're going to go and, and he said, yeah, man, it's Drez will take care of us. We'll be in there. We'll be, right up front checking it out. It'll be cool. I said, all right, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So then he calls me and goes, hey, man, that show is this week. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm excited. Let's go. It's Wednesday. Wednesday? Okay, whatever. I'll go on a Wednesday. What time they go on? He goes, it's a couple acts before them. They go on at like 1:15. I was like, God damn, 1:15 on a Wednesday. Man, I still would have gone. We tried to do it, man. We just were, working and exhausted. We couldn't pull it out because we're old.
Nah, it happens. This is my word. Especially if I'm on a tour situation, I'm playing, literally every day. So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The weekend shows. You try to have them in a major city so you can get the biggest draw.
Yeah, bigger room. Yeah.
But ultimately, you might be wherever on a Monday or Tuesday night, and you're asking a lot to have people come out that have to get up the next day.
But DNA Lounge, that place probably holds, 1,500 people. Right. So you can't really, there's only one Saturday a week. and you got to get in there and do the small houses in between, and that's a grind, man.
Oh yeah, take my word for it. It just takes its toll on your body. Hopping on a plane and you're literally out the next day to go somewhere else and do it all again. It definitely takes its toll on you. But like I say, I mean, I think it's a labor of love. Whereas I can't imagine doing something else.
Right.
Literally can't imagine doing something else. And even away from the show, just the whole creative process of making music and searching things out and putting things together that create something bigger than yourself. It's just a tremendous thing to me. Very, very blessed to be able to do this.
So I brought up the ice clinking and the Tonight Show because I just found out you were the first hip hop artist on the Tonight Show.
Let's clink some glasses to that.
Man,
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We're the first hip hop act on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a progression, you know what I'm saying? This, like, I remember the first time I heard hip hop on television. Not even hip hop, just a beat. I remember it vividly. Like, I ran to the television like, we've arrived. So it was a progression, like that didn't. I remember when hip hop was just on the weekends at night in New York. That was the only time you heard it.
Yeah.
It wasn't on during the week at all. And you only got it on the weekends at nighttime, and you put your cassette in the box and just press record and then go back outside and come back in 30 minutes to turn the tape over and go back out. But, and then you listen to that tape all week.
Yeah.
So those artists that we were listening to, Fearless 4 or, Crash Crew, whatever, Black Sheep received accolades that they didn't receive. Being a first on a Tonight Show or being able to run around the country. A lot of them have never even been out of the country. So
you got to be on their shoulders a little bit.
Exactly. And I think the same is true for the cast that exist today.
Yeah.
We didn't receive any endorsement or any, I think we got paid $300 or something like that was the going rate for a guest.
Right.
Whereas today, these kids have a single that's popular for half the year and receive, millions of dollars.
Right.
That wasn't that wasn't for us. Just like the Tonight Show might not have been for who was in front of us. So it's a progression for all of us. And I think it's important that cats remember that and don't just think that they're the greatest thing since sliced bread and they get all of these things because no one put in work before them.
Someone had to make bread.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody had to cook it, had to everything that went into it. And the kids today are the result of.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember when the only place you could hear hip hop was Kelvin's house.
All right.
You had to go. I had to go across the street. I had to sit in Kelvin's garage, usually on the trunk of his father's Charger.
All right.
And I would sit there, and that was the place where we would gather in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, our listeners are going to have no idea what I'm talking about.
All right. Who's
Kelvin's sitting here in studio.
Here. He won't put a mic in front of him.
No.
But it's true. That was part of our inculcation, but it was the same out here, out west.
Right.
We were behind you guys.
Right.
But I remember there was a particular summer where Kelvin and I were infatuated with New York. We were in summer school that summer, and somebody showed up. I don't remember who it was, but one of your cousins or something showed up with fat laces. And it was on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what's up.
It was on.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right.
The point that I would like to make is that as an artist, you have put a foundation down. And when we listen to your records now, they have legs.
Boy, they do.
And I think, when you first came out was 92, right?
No, actually, 1990.
90, okay.
90.
Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame worthy now.
Hey. I'm trying to get there. I'm going to try. If I got to walk, I'll get there eventually.
Well, here's the thing. When we listen to the stuff that we listened to in 83 or 82, it was very elementary. And,
Right.
and I'm glad you tip your cap to the guys who came before you. But there was a time, and I want to say it was right between 89 and 90, and then really again between 92 and 95, where hip-hop just made a stride. Because when you listen to music that came in 1962 or 1963, there's not that much of a difference. But when you listen to music that came in 1986 and 1988,
Right.
it's a huge difference in
Right.
the legs.
Right.
And
It
you
was
have that
from
going
disco
for you.
to
Yeah.
yeah, no doubt it was transitioning.
Any of those artistic genre shifts, like the impressionists to the modernists, that gap in between where you're like not sure what you are. Are you a modernist? Are you an impressionist? Are you a punk band? All these proto-punk bands where you're like, we don't like things. We're going to play loud and fast, but they don't sound the same.
Right. As someone who has a genuine grudge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it takes a minute to sort out.
And then at some point, there's the cement dries around something, and then you can build up.
Right.
And
For real.
I think that's really right where you guys were.
Right.
Was that you had an opportunity to forward the art form.
Right. I definitely feel like that. I've always said to myself, I feel like a bridge, and that I kind of was able to see the beginnings of a bridge before me, and I was the one that was kind of able to put my feet on the other side, or put my hands on the other side, so that someone could come over me and get
Right.
on that land that we wasn't touching before.
Yeah.
I always felt like we were kids that were able to get into the home of Middle America. Right?
Yeah.
My whole crew, I would say, the Native Tongues,
Yeah.
were kind of catalysts for this energy. A lot of cats can now stand over there because we laid our bodies down so that you could walk across. And that's really how I feel. And I think that's a very noble job. It
Absolutely.
might not necessarily be the biggest, the richest, or anything, but a respected walk. And I feel good that I can go anywhere or in the world,
Yeah.
and people are like,
And get your
impressed.
props.
Yeah, and that means the world to me because I know millionaires that can't buy that.
Right.
You know, so that means a lot to me.
Yes, there are some high-paid folks out there who have capitalized. But then in every art form, there is that bridge that was important.
Right.
Important to the art form. And man, you will absolutely have that the rest of your life.
Right.
As a lyrical stylist, man, that's where you really forwarded the art form to me, lyrically. Because when you listen to the things that came just 4 years before you, the rhymes were so elementary. Wordplay was a lot less clever. Everything was just so kind of pedestrian, and rap was young.
Right.
So the advancement that happened right then was huge. And the advancement that has happened from then till now, some people might even argue that it's a step backwards
Very easily to argue that.
in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And so here we are, we have you to look back on your body of work. And while we see that, and while we see the artistry, we have to fucking put up with Kanye. What? That pisses me off, man. That pisses me off.
Those artists have always existed. He's competition on a certain level for me, whereas hip hop is competitive. It used to be more combative, whereas you could kind of confront different artists if you didn't necessarily feel that they stood for anything.
Yeah.
These days it's much more politically correct. They want to protect your brand. Kanye probably would have got called out a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
But for the reasons that exist today, he gets this walk because of the political correctness of hip hop at this point.
I think he's going to pay a price.
Oh, without question. I think so as well. I mean, I think it's even bigger than artistically. I think he literally is undiagnosed and he has issues beyond music. Just for the things that he's allowed himself to say and truly believe.
Right.
And even the things that he embraces as that matters. The unfortunate thing is that kids emulate.
Are influenced by it.
Right. And they think that that's the way too. Like, I think since Jay-Z, we've gotten into a blueprint.
Yeah.
Like following a blueprint. Jay-Z, I'll show you the blueprint. And that he was successful. Every kid emulated a hustler. But anybody that's really hustled doesn't want you to know, number one. Number two, they did it so that they'd have an opportunity to do something else.
Right.
It wasn't for me to sell you on the concept of destroying your community.
Right.
For the advancement of yourself. Anybody that's ever really walked that understands yo, I kind of had to do this, but I did it so that I could do something else.
Right.
I now own
There
this,
was an
and
end game.
Right, and it didn't put you in line for prison. They didn't put you in line for a coffin. They would try to hide from the parents that they knew so that it wasn't such a bad look upon them or their family. These days, you know, the kids, they want you to know they're going to social media themselves with guns and with money. And, you know, it's just a horrific walk that hip-hop, I can't even say hip-hop, that rap music is co-signing. And for that reason, I think everyone's going to pay a price. The children are growing up in a way that they're losing their innocence much earlier. You know what I'm saying? They're seeing things that there used to be a time when, you know, there was a child's place. You know, you couldn't stay in the room with your parents while they listened to Cheech and Chong or to, you know, Richard Pryor. You had to sneak that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know,
It's just so out there now.
right. But these days, you know, the mom sits down with the kid and watches Love and Hip Hop and, you know, all of these things that are just way beyond the child's understanding.
Right.
And
Ability
the child,
to comprehend.
Right. And the child winds up trying to emulate it on their level, and it just creates just fiasco that we now live in.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, that's heavy.
Yeah. You definitely have a social theme in many of your songs. You talk about choices, for example. Chuck D, another one of your peers, obviously still to this day.
Yeah, great man.
Constantly.
Great man.
And I don't want to say preaching, but he's always preaching. He's like, look, this is be aware.
Right.
Who's that guy now that does that?
Man, whoever he is not mainstream right now. I think there are artists that exist that have something to say, i.e. Homeboy Sandman or Kweli Mos. But at this point, I don't think even them as artists are given the platforms to speak to anyone that wasn't checking for them. We don't get an opportunity. As you become an older artist, your platforms start diminishing as far as you having the opportunity to introduce notions to people that don't know you. It's only people that know you that the platform is for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But as far as someone that would be introduced to me at this point, it's almost by accident.
Well,
You know?
I don't want to put words in your mouth. It almost sounds like a curse. Like it's a reality. The older that you get, you take your audience with you. But there are artists out there who are older than their audience and who haven't captured a generation of listeners like you have, who you get to take with you. And their product is a little less thoughtful, a little less generationally reflective. Right now, like you said, to be a mainstream artist, you have to play young, and playing young means when we were kids, we went through that phase where I'm looking at Kelvin because we went through all these phases with, you know, where we stood on things. And when you are a late teen, early 20, when you're entering your adulthood, we were pissed off about things.
Right.
You know, we weren't malicious, but we had a social agenda. Shit was wrong.
Right.
There was injustice.
And you were willing to stand.
We had those feelings.
You know? Yeah.
And it just seems like that just doesn't resonate with these kids. God damn, I sound like an old ass man.
Yeah, yo,
All that-
brother. But man, I feel you. I totally feel you. You know, it's almost like, you know, what we were willing to do for the cause, these cats are willing to do for attention.
Yep.
And it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
If you like the show,
And you know you do.
send us some pictures of your boobies.
Don't do that. Support the show.
There are 3 ways you can support us.
Number 1, go to iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcasts.
And leave a 5-star rating and review.
It helps with the show metrics and helps us get better placement. Number 2,
Visit our website.
www.breakitdownshow.com.
We've got an Amazon and an eBay link.
Same Amazon, same eBay, you know and love, but they give us a little kickback when you get to their site from ours. And number 3, leave comments about the shows that you like. We want to know what you think, how you feel.
Tell us how to make the show better. We greatly appreciate it.
Now back to the show.
We like boobies.
It's going to bite us in the ass later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like the
Probably
things,
sooner than later.
Yeah. Because things that are being spoken to right now just don't matter. Like, case in point, Kanye. He had an opportunity. He had the platform to speak on a world of issues.
Yes.
Right.
A world of issues.
That's true.
He chose to speak on how Beck should give back a Grammy to Beyonce, a person who doesn't even write or play any instruments at all. It was just a preposterous statement.
Yeah.
Someone who clearly had no idea what Beck does.
Oh, number one, but
Absolutely
number
ignorant.
two, he had no idea of what's going on in the world.
Right.
The world
Yeah.
of things that could be spoken to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Of children's minds that could be open to a concept of any sort.
Yes.
This is what he chose to use his platform for.
That
And
is a damn shame.
right. And this is the difference.
Yeah.
And he'll grow to, I believe that he'll grow to see things like this. But a lot of times, by the time you get to that growth, the platforms have diminished.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, I had the opportunity to, and you'll start searching for those opportunities. Hopefully that happens to him. I can't say, it will one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I can say that he blew an opportunity to do something much more constructive than gain Beyonce her 80th Grammy.
Right.
Come on.
Besides that, I want to say this too. Where is Jay-Z on all of this? Because look,
Yeah.
I can't stop looking at Kelvin because man, I've known this dude a long time. If some injustice happened and your wife, whatever, I'll be the first one to stand up. But at the same time, if you're standing right there, I got your back, but I'm gonna let you handle your business. So where is Jay-Z? Because goddamn it, at some point I'll be like, hey man, I got it.
Yeah, get off
That's
my
my
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
I got it.
Man, I can't speak for Jay-Z, but he appears to have taken the route that Michael Jordan has taken. Like, these people just do not speak to the plight of the community at this point.
Yeah.
They'd much rather maintain their brand, make 100 more million, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to change 100 million lives. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like, certain cats have grown to the point that they'll sacrifice the community for
Their personal
themselves.
gain.
Yeah.
That-
And that I don't respect.
That reminds me of a story of I don't know, maybe you heard the story of Tupac and Maya Angelou. And Maya Angelou put him in the Hucklebuck.
Oh, yeah?
Because he was out ranting and raving about something, mad at somebody else, and being, at least
Being Tupac.
being Tupac, right? And this is at a movie set, and so
Right.
they're both. She's in her trailer and everything, and so she basically calls him over, and she throws, it's Maya Angelou. She dropped the knowledge on him. She's like, our people came over in ships, and they were sold on blocks, so that you could do this.
Well,
And then just gave him a hug while he cried.
Right.
Because she fucked him up, And that's what Kanye needs. Like, look, you've got a platform. You've got a stage. You can say anything.
one of the things that I've thought about in my entire career, like I've written it maybe one time, but I don't think I've ever spoken on it in an interview. And this is a 20-year-old thought. I imagine a slave escaping from a plantation, say in the deep south, heavily wooded area, taking a chance to leave one night and escape on barefoot.
Right.
Running barefoot through woods, no trails.
No idea.
No idea. Following stars, hoping that he's going in the right direction.
Right.
Being torn, shredded apart from bushes to things that he's got to get through, from rivers to creeks to rocks to everything. To finding spaces to sleep, to rest, knowing that he's being followed, that he's being chased, that if he's caught, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I imagine a trip of this nature that took days,
Yeah.
if not a week or more,
Right.
for you to find this place that you have some form of solace, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like at some point after all of this running, you come to this tunnel. And at the end of this tunnel is a curtain. And to pull the curtain aside, you see an audience and a microphone. What are you going to tell the people? What do you say? And I'll do whimsical stuff, but I'll know I'm doing something whimsical. I don't take that something whimsical as this is God's gift. This is me having some fun. You know what I'm saying? I got to get back to God's gift.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes as well that maybe I might be overthinking it. It's entertainment. Are these people entertaining? I guess to a degree, but I just feel like the opportunity is there to be more. And I don't think that we take advantage of it. This is an opportunity to change the world. And it might not happen right after you finish. It might be a recording that people catch up to 5, 10, 20 years from now.
Right.
But take it seriously, because, you know, you literally have an opportunity to do something that only a handful of people in history
Get to do. God damn, that was heavy.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna need a hug while I'm crying. Man.
You know, I've been going my whole life to try to get to this place that I'm in front of an audience with a microphone. I don't take it lightly.
That's incredible.
Peace.
To give yourself that burden, you know, to know that this is important. You're right. You know, and if you come with that level of respect for what you're doing, if you respect yourself, then that's really what matters, you know.
Real talk. Real talk.
You know what? We had a very interesting interview last night. We interviewed a woman named Allison Bedell. She is there's a TV show called Catch a Contractor. Her husband, Skip Bedell, is a contractor, and his partner is Adam Carolla. And they go out to these houses where some contractor came and bid a job and started the job, and now you don't have a roof, and your family's living in the garage waiting for the job to get done, but they're not answering phone calls no more.
Oh, goodness.
And they took $30,000, and we don't know where this dude is, and we got open, exposed electrical wiring, and we can't cook. And so these situations happen.
And they rectify them?
Yes. So what they do is, Allison, you know, she's a hot-looking blonde. Hey, I need some work done around my house. Will you come to my house? And then the contractor shows up and she says, oh, let me go get my husband. And she leaves the room. And then a camera crew comes in with a bunch of dudes and they say,
Have a seat.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And they have their come to Jesus meeting. And the reason I bring this up is because Skip Bedell, he is pissed off at the level of disrespect that these people pay to the trade.
Right.
Like, you are a carpenter. How dare you come in here and leave these people in the... And there is a place for somebody to have that respect for their trade. And ultimately, no matter what anybody does, when they see that burden to respect the trade, they're going to make admirable work. And, man, to hear you say that and what it means to be given that platform, to be handed that microphone... You're right. It's a very small handful of people in the world who get to do what you've done for 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
And it is an important platform. And I don't hope ill will on anybody, but I hope the world realizes these fucking clowns who come up and take the podium for what they are.
Right.
And say, God damn it, step aside.
I agree. I mean, there's a duality about it for me. I agree, because I feel like, how can you speak for someone when you won't speak to someone? People like this have taken something very important that the people gave them. The people gave them this power.
Yes.
And you turn around and look down on the people.
Yeah.
I don't respect that on any level. You know, one of the things I think that's kind of always kept me grounded is anyone that speaks to me, I speak back.
Right.
Anyone that, you know, asks me to take a picture, I'll always take a picture with you. Like, if this is the brunt of my job,
Yeah.
you know, let me do a good job. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how fortunate am I?
Right.
Because I realize that no one has to ask me to do anything.
The brunt of your job does not involve a shovel.
Please. I mean, even on my worst days, there's, you know, me having a hard day of traveling.
Yeah.
Or the sound wasn't what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the
on
grand scheme of things.
On the hard
Yeah.
day spectrum, you got, you know, you have to take a picture with more people than
Seriously.
you're comfortable doing.
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
sucks to have to spend a couple extra hours in
Yeah.
Albuquerque.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Hey, I'll hug all the people I got to hug.
exactly. Exactly.
I got hugs forever.
With a smile, man.
Yeah.
Sincerely, like, how fortunate can I be? For years at this point, and granted, some years are much better than others. Some, you know, there's definitely the times when you're trying to figure out how to get somewhere or how to make something more cohesive or what have you, and you figure it out, period. One of the things that's kind of rough is that, especially in hip-hop, there weren't very many people in front of you to learn from. So a lot of things are done by trial and error. And even still, I think hip-hop is just a young adult.
The game evolves, yeah,
Right.
because it is, like you said, it's right in its young adult. It's not in its infancy anymore.
Right.
But it is still trying to figure itself out.
I used to think it was a teenager, but now I think it's more of a young adult, even though it's like this young adult has kids. And these kids are just like, wow.
In the midst of some adolescent behavior.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings out another thing that's existing in hip hop that we have to change. Ageism. We're at a point now where a young cat doesn't really want to rock with an older cat because of the audience. But it's such a disconnect, and they're missing so many things that they need, and they're not realizing it. Number one, there's so much information to be garnered. There's so many things that an elder can kind of, and not even talking about me, any elder can kind of just explain to you.
It is unique that way. Now
Yeah.
that you bring that up, because even if you look back at a young Steve Miller, when he was playing guitar in the 70s and he was a kid, effectively, his stage was open. An older guitar player could step up there. B.B. King could walk on stage and he would give him his props. Come on, B.B.,
Right.
play with me. Show me something.
And that doesn't exist in hip hop, unfortunately, right now.
Right.
Only if you're an older top tier. Only, they'll let Jay on or whoever. But Jay's coming to try to steal something as opposed to show something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a big difference. And, and not to belittle Jay, God bless him. But at the end of the day, we don't need any more of that. We need cohesion. And another thing that these kids aren't realizing, the same cats that look at it like, nah, I don't mess with these older cats. I think it was Young Thug that just said that he doesn't buy Jay-Z's albums because Jay-Z's old. You know what I'm saying? So if it's happening to Jay on that level, you can imagine, cats like myself and others. But ultimately, one of the things that I think that the younger cats don't realize is that the attention span is so short in these days. In 5 years, they have to face the very precedents that they're setting.
Yeah.
In 5 to 7 years, you're an older artist.
Right.
And you're setting a precedence where the kid right under you is going to look at you the same way you looked at someone because that's what you taught them.
Yep.
And we have the opportunity to set a precedence with the younger cats that say, you make sure you look back to your mentors, even if they don't know they mentored you, whoever inspired you. You bring them out to open or just do a song or record something that shows you have an understanding of where you came from.
Yeah.
And in return, that would be granted to you. But cats, they don't realize the power that we have until they don't have it.
Well, that's the teenager part of hip hop.
Real talk.
Because that is something that we all go through and we just don't realize that we've gone through it. And until, you get slapped in the face that one time and you go, man, what was I thinking?
Yeah. And I've been there as well. Me doing the Tonight Show, one of the things that I wish that I had did was brought the native tongue with me. Mm. It was my moment, but it should have been ours, especially that we made these records asking the people to be something.
Yeah.
Asking the people to move together, about knowledge of self, about empowering yourself, about community. But we weren't able to be a microcosm of the very thing that we were asking people to be.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? And it's only now that I'm like, wow, like I had a power that I didn't realize I had. Yeah, they wanted me to come, but if I told them that I was bringing them, they were not gonna tell me not to come.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So instead of, maybe me doing Choice Is Yours and this song, I could have done Choice Is Yours and something that we were doing. Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever's going to get me in the door, but make it bigger than what it is and make it more important. And like I said, I see cats with the same platforms these days, but they don't understand. And they don't even do what we did. They take it even, like, yeah, Kim Kardashian's a genius. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, what are you talking about? Like, like cats that just start talking out of left field. Or even, like even the things that we look to aspire to these days is just not what it should be.
Okay, I get that, man. That's a fair point. But like you said, you were a bridge. And what you did on that Tonight Show episode, never mind what you could have done, because you're the only one who thinks that. For the rest of us who view it from the outside, what you did was you made it okay for hip-hop to be on the Tonight Show. And so from that viewpoint, there was something that you did that was important.
Yeah, that's still a lot.
And I don't know the chronology of who came next and all that, but you know, you made it okay for hip hop to be on the Tonight Show.
Right.
And now, look at it. You know, you got Jimmy Fallon on there
Doing
doing the history of rap.
Yeah.
And now there's just no limitation.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, the
He's
roots.
got the
Yeah.
roots.
Oh, please.
So there you go.
Right.
That's what you did, man.
All right, that's peace.